Now we have our strips for our binding, but we have to connect them into one long piece. If I butt them together and connect them with a seam like this, we're eventually going to fold this in half and in half again. And that seam would be on top of itself 4 times and would be a big knot on the edge of that quilt. So instead, we're going to put our strips together on a bias seam where when we open it out, it'll be at a 45-degree angle, and when we fold them twice, none of these seams will be on top of each other. I'm going to take my first strip and I'm going to make a 45-degree line on it. You can take any ruler with this 45 long ways with the top of the strip. Make sure the tip comes out at the corner of the strip or just inside of it. You can have a little bit hanging over. You want to hold that firm and take a sharp pencil and angle your pencil where it will not push the material out of the way. We've marked the first one. We'll take the second one. Do the same thing to it. We want to do this to all 6 strips or however many you have for your quilt. Now on this one I left a little more at the end. That's okay. We're going to trim it off after we sew them together if we need to, so that's not a problem. You can't come out further than the point. You can't have your ruler way over here past the material. But if a little material is sticking out beyond the ruler, that's fine. I have all of my strips marked with the 45-degree line on the end. Now it's time to pin them together so that we can sew them in one long strip. Take the first strip and take the marked end and put it at the opposite end. You want the end without the mark on it and place it face up. You're going to take the next strip and place it face down with that 45-degree line right here. You may not be able to see it, but it's right here. Now I want to pin this on here along the diagonal. I want to get the right edge even and then make this line come out at the very top of that bottom strip. You want your line, your diagonal line, to come out right at the edge of the strip. And over here at the side, you want your diagonal line to come out right at the edge of the strip. You should have the same amount of your bottom strip showing here. It should be an even line or the same amount showing. And then put one in the middle just to hold it. Then I flip it and I take the next strip. You've got this one with no line on it, face up, and this one with the line on it, face down. I'm going to get this bottom edge even. Pin it. Doesn't matter if you start at top or bottom. Just make sure you've got some sticking out over here. Get your top where the line is coming out right at the top of the material. Pin one in the middle. Flip your strip. Take this next strip and do the same thing for all of your strips until they're all in one big long line. So we'll get ready to sew these together now. To sew our strips together, we're going to start at either end, does not matter. We want to take our pieces of strips with the line right here. We're going to line this up under our needle, if I can get all my threads going in the same direction. Now I want my needle in the center position if you have the opportunity to do that. I want my stitch length, I want it on a straight stitch and about just barely over 2. We want a pretty tight stitch because we don't want this to come apart. They're not very long stitches, seams. Now, we're going to start at the edge. You want your needle to come down absolutely where that V is formed between that line and that back piece of material, right at the edge. We're going to hand sew a couple. Come in, take that first pin out just before you run over it. We don't want to tear up our machine. Sew down to the next one. Leave your needle down. Pull out your pin. Sew down to your next one. Pull out your pen. Now when you come out on this end, it should be at the edge of the bottom piece of material and the top material where they make a V right there. So make sure you come out right at that point. We're going to take the next one, butt it right behind, start right where that line comes out at the edge of the material. Take our pins out just before we run over them. Now when you take that last pin out, use your fingers to hold it still so that nothing shifts. Come out of that one. Come to the next one. You're just going to keep lining them up until we have all of these connected. So I'll be back when I'm done. We have our strips sewn into one long piece, and we have these big triangular seams sticking out on the back. Now, we're going to take old-fashioned pinking shears, the kind with the zigzag blades on them. If you have them, regular scissors will do, but these are wonderful if you have them. Cut this off about 3/8 to 1/2 inch from the seam, and you'll have a little triangle of material left over. Throw that to the side. Come to the next seam. Cut it off. Throw it to the side. Do this on all of your seams to get that excess material out of the way. We don't want that in our binding. Now, we want to go down, press the entire seam flat and open. When you get to one of these seams, you want to press it straight, then open it up, press it open. Be careful with it. It's a bias seam. We just want it nice and flat. Keep pressing, and I press the entire strip, even if there's not a seam there. We want it to do what we want it to do. Then pull it all the way back down. I just throw it off the end of my board again until we get back here. Now we want to fold this strip in half long ways. Make these bottom edges come even with each other. And we're going to start pressing. And I'll continue to press this. I wanted to show you a little closer how we're going to do this. We're going to fold it long ways, directly in half. Make sure these two corners are absolutely on top of each other. Make sure the edges meet exactly as much as you possibly can as you go down this strip. The better you do this step, the better your binding will turn.